How they slowly became the one person the other couldn't do without. Introduction. Connections that grow without permission. Some relationships grow because people choose them. Others grow because life quietly reshapes itself around them. Freen Sorocha and Becky Armstrong belong to the second kind. Their bond did not begin with desire, intention, or even curiosity. It began with shared time. Ordinary, repeated, unremarkable moments that accumulated meaning without either of them realizing it was happening. And that is precisely why it became so strong. The dangerous simplicity of shared time. Shared time is underestimated. When two people exist in the same spaces often enough, the brain starts categorizing their presence as familiar. Familiarity lowers defenses. Lowered defenses allow authenticity. Authenticity invites trust. Freen and Becky didn't force closeness. They simply kept showing up in the same rooms. The same rehearsals. The same interviews. The same long days. The same waiting periods between takes. Over time, their presence stopped being notable and started being expected. Expectation is where reliance is born. When the body recognizes safety before the mind does. Before either of them consciously understood what the other meant to them, their bodies already knew. Freen's shoulders relaxed faster when Becky sat beside her. Becky's breathing slowed when Freen spoke. These are involuntary responses. They don't come from affection. They come from nervous system recognition. The body decides who feels safe long before the heart gets involved. From awareness to attunement. At first, they noticed each other. Then they started adjusting to each other. Not deliberately, instinctively. Freen softened her tone when Becky seemed tense. Becky waited before speaking when Freen looked overwhelmed. This wasn't caretaking. It was attunement. Attunement happens when two people subconsciously track each other's emotional states and respond without being asked. Once this begins, a relationship stops being surface level. The moment one person becomes a stabilizer. Every person has internal baselines, emotional states they return to. At some point, Becky became one of Freen's baselines. At some point, Freen became one of Becky's. They didn't fix each other. They anchored each other. When anxiety rose, it fell faster. When doubt appeared, it dissolved sooner. That's not romance. That's regulation. And regulation is addictive because it feels like peace. When care became invisible, the deepest care rarely announces itself. It's the water bottle placed without comment. The jacket offered before the cold is named. The subtle shift of position to block noise, crowd, or pressure. Freen and Becky exchanged care so quietly that it stopped being noticed, even by them. When care becomes invisible, it means it has become normal. And normal care is what creates dependency. The shift from I can to I function better. There is a crucial difference between independence and optimization. Freen could function without Becky. Becky could function without Freen. But over time they functioned better together. Sharper focus. Quicker recovery. More emotional steadiness. Once the mind registers improved functioning, it rewires priorities. The person associated with stability becomes non-negotiable. When silence turned into a shared space. Silence can be threatening. But between Freen and Becky, silence became neutral, even comforting. They didn't rush to fill it. They didn't explain it. They didn't perform through it. They simply existed inside it. Shared silence is one of the rarest forms of intimacy because it means neither person is managing the other. They trusted presence alone. Distance as a mirror. It wasn't separation that weakened their bond. It was separation that revealed it. When they weren't together, things didn't fall apart, but they felt less aligned. Energy dipped. Focus blurred. Reactions took longer. Distance exposed how much internal structure they had built around each other. They had become reference points. When one became the first response. Without realizing it, they started reacting to each other first. A joke landed harder. A look mattered more. A moment felt incomplete without acknowledgement from the other. This is not attachment born from need. This is attachment born from pattern reinforcement. The brain learns where reward, safety, and understanding live, and it returns there automatically. Why their bond never needed definition. Many relationships collapse under the pressure of labels. Freen and Becky never needed one. They didn't define what they were. They didn't announce expectations. They didn't negotiate boundaries aloud. They simply respected each other enough to keep choosing steadiness. Defined relationships rely on structure. Undefined bonds rely on trust. When protection replaced possession, neither tried to own the other. Instead, they protected space, protected energy, protected comfort, protected emotional integrity. Protection without possession is one of the purest signs of deep connection. It means care exists without control. The quiet shift from choice to necessity. At some point, their presence stopped feeling optional. Not because of fear, not because of loss, but because of efficiency. Life simply moved more smoothly when they were together. And once the brain associates someone with ease, letting go becomes illogical. Why this kind of bond feels different to observers. People watching Freen and Becky often struggle to explain what they see. It's not passion. It's not performance. It's not spectacle. It's alignment. Their timing matches. Their energy levels sync. Their reactions mirror. Alignment is rare because it cannot be forced. The most important truth. They didn't become inseparable because they needed saving. They became inseparable because they supported who the other already was. No erosion of self. No dependency disguised as love. No emotional collapse without the other. Just steadiness, consistency, presence. When two people become part of each other's emotional infrastructure, eventually removing one from the other wouldn't cause pain. It would cause imbalance. Because they didn't build intensity. They built structure. And structure is harder to dismantle than emotion. Ending. The rarest kind of connection. Freen and Becky didn't fall into something dramatic. They grew into something essential. Slowly, quietly, without permission, without announcement. They became the person the other could function without, but chose not to. And that choice, repeated daily, is what made the bond unbreakable.